Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me, your host, Tommy Gilbert, as we sit down and take a behind-the-scenes look into Titan athletics with weekly interviews with coaches and athletes. This is Titan Table Talk. Hello, Titan fans, and welcome once again inside the Ames Library for Week 8 of Titan Table Talk here in the fall of 2023. Excited today to be joined by Titan head football coach Norm Eash, men's cross-country runner Nick Fisch, and for the first time this season, a winter sport coach, Maya Smith, will be joining us to close out the show. Coach Eash, congratulations on a victory up in Kenosha this weekend. How's it feel to walk out of there with the CCIW win?
Well, it was a great win, and it's a tough trip for us. That's a long trip, when you have to get up early in the morning at 6 o'clock, and you're always worried about your players being ready to play after being on the bus for 3 hours. But we came out of the gate fast, and the key to the ball game is we had no turnovers and controlled the ball game, controlled the field. It was the first time I saw us really play Titan football.
And that's one of the themes for those who have watched some of our other interviews throughout the fall. So many things go right, and then little mistakes here and there, or big mistakes here and there, and you put yourself behind the eight ball, whether it's behind down and distance, whether it's a turnover in the red zone, something like that, and just be able to go up there and play mistake-free football in a game that could have been a little bit of a trap heading on the road, like you said. It's got to be good to see, especially going to a week of practice this week where you can maybe have fewer mistakes and major in-game issues that you need to focus on.
Well, you always want to build upon what you did the previous week, the good things, I should say. And we controlled the line of scrimmage, I thought. We ran the football. Seth Alvin had over 100 yards of rushing, which is a tribute to not only him, but the offensive line. And then Dermot Smythe, our freshman quarterback, is getting better. I think he was 26 for 34. Threw 4 touchdown passes, and he's also a threat as a runner. I think he carried the ball 15 times for us. So it's great to see us improving and doing the things that I always thought we could do all year, and we haven't been. And so, like last week against North Park, we won all the statistics except for the most important statistic, and that was a score. This week we won all the statistics plus the scoreboard. And so it was a very happy locker room and a great trip home.
Yeah. And now that Dermot's got a few games of, more consistent playing time and then several starts now under his belt, what have you seen in terms of growth from him?
Well, he's still learning our system, and he's still learning our signals and everything else. So sometimes that slows us up a little bit. There's a couple times I had to take a timeout because we run out of time. But he's getting better and better. But he's such a playmaker, and he's starting to understand the speed of the game at the college level and the coverages as he's seen. And we're trying to put him in the best possible position we can. But he's very talented, and he's going to get better and better. And we were able to bring Jay Lemonager in. He's coming back from an injury. I think he's pretty well. He came in and got our last touchdown. And so it's nice to have him healthy. And now, I think we have 2 really good quarterbacks that we can use at any time. And so we're excited about that. Our defense, we can't talk about the game without talking about our defense because I think they had a -2 yard rushing.
I think you're correct about that, yes.
So that's a pretty good day for the defense, and forced Carthage to throw the ball a lot, and I thought we put pretty good pressure on and kept them under control, and kept them out of the end zone.
Yeah, and you can look at the game flow all you want and a 21-0 halftime lead, but it's part of the reasons that obviously you're going to look at any stat sheet at the end and go, well, they weren't able to rush the ball very much. But -2 is -2, no matter what. No matter what the rest of the game looks like. Obviously, we're happy with how the defensive line looked up front. It's been oftentimes the strength of that defense all year. But in terms of being able to take away, even in obvious passing situations like Carthage faced a lot of the game, 270 passing yards in a game where you're throwing it the whole time is nothing to be too ashamed of either. No. If you're sitting on our side of the ball.
Our defensive line has done a great job all year. Zach McNeese and Josh Lavacek at the ends, they put constant pressure on, and Joel Baird got a sack for us. He's a senior captain. And then Arthur Chad in the secondary had a really good day. So overall, we're very pleased on how the game went and how the special teams went. I think we did get a block punt, which is a concern. But we'll go back and take a look at that and make sure we correct that. But special teams have been really good all year, and we kind of slipped up on our punt team on Saturday. But nothing that we can't correct, and we'll move forward. But we have a big game this weekend. I mean, Augustana is coming to town. Augustana is probably having their best year they've had in 10 years. They're 6-1 overall and 5-1 in the CCIW. And it's kind of a payback game a little bit. There's been it's become a pretty good rivalry between the two teams, and so I know we went up there and we were very disappointed last year. We lost a close ball game that would have allowed us to be 7-3 last year, and they kept us from that. So I think our players are ready to play this game.
Yeah, certainly one of the breakout stories in the CCW this season. 20-point victory over Simpson as their one non-conference matchup, and then have, outside of a 7-point loss to Wheaton, run the table the rest of the way. Now they have not seen North Central yet. No, Augustana will get them in week 10. But when you look at this upcoming week, 1 p.m. kickoff at home against the Vikings, is there, coming off obviously a difficult loss last season, a little bit of extra momentum, a little bit of extra maybe chip on your shoulder going into this weekend?
Yeah, I sense that with our players. We respect everyone in the CCIW, but we fear no one. And so, they're having a great year, but, you play the game to win, and we're going to take the field on Saturday, wanting to put them in a loss column. We want to get our third CCIW win, and we want to finish the season the best we can. So we have to go through Augustana to do that. So it should be a great game. I think it'll be a high intense, hard hitting ball game. I'm anxious to see how our kids are going to come out.
Yeah, and you don't have to spoil the surprise if you don't want to. But as Jay gets healthier, any plans to do a little bit of a tandem quarterback situation between Jay and Dermot?
Well, I think that's always there. Jay still has a very strong arm, throws the ball very well, but Dermot had a great game last week. He threw for 4 touchdowns and rushed 15 times, and his passing completion was tremendous. So, you can't not continue with him, but Jay's always there. So it's a great position to be in, actually.
Yeah, and especially, I feel to some degree you feel better about playing the younger, less experienced quarterbacks when you have playmakers around them who can help them out. And Miles Key, like we were just talking about before going on air, 11 catches for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns. Trey Moore, I believe, had 6 catches. Kevin Graham had 3 for 40, but 2 of those went for scores. So having guys like that who can provide a lot of help to a young quarterback is always fun.
And Matt Young, too, is the other receiver, and he made 2 unbelievable catches. So, it was a great day for a receiving core, but they also had 2 quarterbacks that, can get them the ball. And I think that's been a frustration of them up to this point, because they all think they're playmakers and they want the ball. But we did that on Saturday, and it was good to see everyone happy, and it was a get well game and a feel good game, and so we needed that right now. And we have 3 weeks left and 2 home games, with Augustana coming into Tucci Stadium this Saturday, and then we have to go on the road to North Central, and then we finish up against Elmhurst the last week for Senior Day. So we want to finish strong, and but it starts with Augustana.
Absolutely. Well, good luck this weekend, Coach. Looking forward to it. Once again, 1 p.m. kickoff at Tucci Stadium this weekend against the Augustana Vikings. Come on out and check out Coach Esch's Titans. Thanks for joining us, Coach, and we'll be back momentarily with Nick Fisch.
When competition for the best jobs is fierce, how do you set yourself apart? Experience? An education? Yes, but not just any education. At Illinois Wesleyan, we prepare graduates who break through the noise, who run the boardroom, the classroom, the lab, the stage. The best college for jobs in Illinois is right in your own backyard. Reach further, dream bigger, and break through at Illinois Wesleyan University.
Welcome back inside the Ames Library. Our second guest of the afternoon is men's junior cross-country runner Nick Fisch. Nick, thanks for joining us. How you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
So I wanted to talk to you a little bit first before we dive into CCW stuff about your last competition back on October 14th, Augustana in a regional invite up in Rock Island. For those who are not familiar, probably the most competitive meet in the Central region outside of, the NCAA regional is coming up in a few weeks. How'd you feel like it went?
For sure. Everybody's really looking forward to this meet. Again, nature of cross country is you don't get a lot of chances to race, only 4 or 5 races per season for most people. And Augustana historically is a really fast course, a lot of really great times on there. So everyone was really looking forward to that. Unfortunate weather conditions kind of the day before, rain, made the course a little soggy, a little hard to run on. But across the board, a lot of really, really great times. A couple standouts, our women's team, of course, Adriana, Annalise, men's side, a lot of really great PRs and season PRs. Sophomore Zach Daniel really came out of his shell that meet, crazy time. Kind of our middle pack of Seth Hammerski, Ernie Watterson, really close to that PR barrier, a lot of really great season bests. So across the board, everybody kind of really showed up that day. I think it was really good as a whole for the team to kind of get us primed and ready for CCIWs this week.
Yeah, and that like men's side, as you alluded to, Zach, 181st out of over 450 runners, and some of the most competitive teams you're going to find within 6 hours of here. You were 233rd, finishing second on the team behind Zach, and then on the women's side, Adriana 12th was the highest finisher in the CCW by just about a second, just ahead of Emma Odell from Augustana, her 21:56, both a lifetime best and the fastest 6K in the CCW this year. So pretty exciting to see, with Annalise 58th, shortly behind her out of nearly 400 runners on the women's side. Looking ahead to this coming Saturday now, of course, the CCW Championship up at St. James Farm in Warrenville in the suburbs. 7th time in the last 12 years that the CCW Championship has been held at that course. Does that give you a little bit of a comfort level going into it, that you kind of know what to expect?
For sure. I think personally, St. James Farm is my favorite course. I've run my best times there. I've run there 6 times now about, and I really like it. For the men's AK course, it's kind of a 3-lap loop. Run that loop 3 times. There's a nice gravel straightaway. There's some really nice mulched section in the back. A lot of really great places to turn, but really the only people who haven't run there already are freshmen, but everyone else has run there a couple times already, so we all kind of know that course really well. Really excited to get back there.
When you look at cross-country courses, sometimes set up on a golf course, sometimes as in ours when we have home meet out at Maxwell Park, a wide variety of settings sometimes. What is it in particular that, at least for you, makes a really great course to run on?
I think it definitely needs to have a little bit of that mix, because if you're just kind of on a flat loop 24/7, kind of just a glorified track. But I mean, a lot of golf courses make kind of like the best terrain, kind of what we had at Augie, what we have over at what we had over in Iowa for Waverly. That meet was really nice. Again, kind of a mix of that rolling, grassy terrain, maybe a few inclines to kind of help pass, make good moves. But definitely don't want anything too kind of treacherous. We ran at Milliken's kind of course earlier in the season, and that was just bad footing, hard ground, all inclines, not great. Definitely a nice mix, though.
That was a tough weather day, too, if I recall. Isn't that right?
Yeah, we have not been very kind to the weather. Or weather hasn't been very kind to us. Most of our meets have either been in like 80, 90 degree plus weather or soaking wet course, kind of bad conditions. But, it's the nature of cross country. Got to show up on the day regardless.
Yeah, I was out at the Redbird meet at ISU to open the season, and it was warm walking around that day. Yeah. It looks like cloudy, high of 55 on Saturday up in Warrenville. Obviously, a sport where you're beginning in August and sometimes running a regional or national, race in the weeks leading into Thanksgiving, you get a range. Yeah. What is your favorite kind of weather to run in?
Right there, that kind of like 40s to 50s, overcast, chilly. I think it's what I like best. That's why I operate best. I think it's what a lot of people really like. Once you get kind of up to those like 70s and above, can get kind of too hot, can kind of weigh down on people. But I mean, I don't really mind running in rain or snow either, but kind of the nice 50-degree fall weather is ideal.
I don't mind running in snow. There's the true runner in you there coming out. Looking ahead again to this weekend, last year women were 4th, men were 7th at CCW Championship. 3 returning top 50 finishers on the men's side, led by yourself, or 2, I should say. JD's gone. JD Barrett, who graduated last year, finished 28th, and Zach Daniel 43rd. The women return Annalise, who was 2nd, Adriana 13th, Amanda Wilson 25th, Tia Hart 36th, and Brooke Nazos 41st. Any specific team or individual goals for the men and or women going into this weekend?
Yeah, so I think women's team, I mean, again, just kind of looking about how strong they are this year. Those two really strong up ahead in the pack, Adriana and Elise. Get those two low sticks, bring in Amanda, Brooke, Tia in close. I think they have real contention for that second first place title. I think it's really not out of the question for them. And as far as us on the men's side, we've kind of had our goal set from the beginning of the season at a 5th place finish. Historically, we've kind of finished kind of those lower spots, but we've just been putting in a lot of work this year. Everyone has been really committed to that kind of 5th place finish. We kind of understand that at this point in the season, at this point, kind of like our team's life cycle, this isn't going to be the big jump year, but, have a lot of really good guys right now, really young team. Most of our guys concentrate in that like sophomore class. Give us a few building years and we could probably be, up there fighting for that 3rd place spot in a couple of years. But right now, said we're going to go for 5th, still looking at that and definitely not out of the question.
And what does your training look like now over the last couple of weeks of the year as you get ready for both the CCW race this weekend and then regionals coming up in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, so at this point, especially this week, we've kind of started to hit our taper. So less mileage, less intense workouts, kind of leading up to conference and regionals. Because ideally, at this point, we've been putting in the work, we've been putting in the mileage for, all throughout the summer, all throughout the fall up until this point. So at this point, we're just gotta have faith in the work we've put in, and then just kind of, rest our bodies, make sure we're primed for that. 2 weeks ago, last week, we'd kind of consider our quote-unquote peak week of like highest intensity, highest mileage. Last week, we kind of had something we're calling the IWU preview, which is a time trial, 2-mile time trial for the women, and then kind of 3-mile for the men, all at goal race pace for an 8K, 6K respectively. And everyone showed up. Everyone did really, really well. A lot of really great performances to kind of get ready for that mindset of, hey, we're fit, we're ready to race, ready to compete at these conference races.
Yeah, always exciting to see. And of course, my experience in general coaching-wise in swimming is a very similar pattern often at the end of the year where, we've been oftentimes racing pretty tired throughout the year and then able to get up and go a little bit more as you get to championship season. As we transition a little bit away from, Nick, the runner, and you think back to when you were first, junior, senior in high school, looking at, okay, what do I want to do with my life coming from Montini and hometown of Woodridge up in the suburbs? Where do I want to be for the next 4 years? What was it, academic, athletic, otherwise, that drew you to Illinois Wesleyan?
Definitely a mix of athletic academics. I've been running since 5th grade, definitely something I just want to continue to do, but also still really interested in that academic side. So, still kind of looking in conference, comparable schools, Augie, Millikan, North Central. Really did just kind of choose here for academics, a bio major. So I kind of really looked into, our bio programs, kind of what that pathway opens up to in terms of like careers. I just really, really liked what we had to offer here.
Any idea what you might be interested in doing with that down the line, or is that still an open question for a couple of years from now?
Still an open book, but definitely interested in a lot of, or at least right now, going down grad school route, getting a master's in terms of microbiome. Really interested in that. Also kind of interested in like, conducting research, doing things like that. So definitely at least where I'm leaning towards right now.
Awesome. Well, thanks for visiting with us this afternoon so much. Good luck this weekend. Looking forward to following along. The one final question, do we have official start times for the men's and women's races yet on Saturday or not?
Not yet.
Okay.
I would imagine first race goes off at 11, and then subsequently every hour after, I would imagine.
Okay. I want to double check with you because I was gonna tell our viewers and listeners out there, and then I looked on the CCW page and it was still officially listed as TBA.
Yeah.
So
no, not quite yet.
All right. Well, St. James Farm this weekend. If you're in the area, stop by, cheer on the Titan cross country teams. Good luck to you guys, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be back in a few moments with Titan women's basketball head coach Maya Smith. Once again, welcome back inside the Ames Library. Our third and final guest here in Week 8 of Titan Table Talk is Illinois Wesleyan women's head basketball coach Maya Smith. Maya, thanks for joining us for the first time this fall.
Well, thanks for having me, Tommy.
Really excited to see you guys open the season unofficially, but in a very exciting exhibition this Sunday. We'll get to that in a little bit. But first, I want to talk to you a little bit about what you've seen in the first couple weeks of practice. It's a team that returns about 3/4 of the minutes and scoring from last year's team that was 16-11, 10 wins in the conference, and lost to Milliken in the CCW semifinal. What's it been like in the first couple weeks of practice so far?
It's been a lot of fun. We're excited about all the girls that have returned, and our newcomers have picked things up so quickly. It's been, those 8 early practices that we've had have helped us to really be ready for October 15th. So that has been a lot of fun. Our practices are really upbeat and probably more energetic than what they were last year.
That's awesome to see. And, you talk a little bit about the 8 early practices, the new schedule this year for all sports across the NCAA, but allowed you to get a little bit of an early start on things. One of the things you always see with newcomers, freshmen, transfers, whatever it may be, coming into your program is the little bit of time it can take to get used to the run and jump and the aggressive style of defense that you like to play. And how's that been going so far? The early practices help with that?
I think they do help with that a little bit. We've actually adjusted our entire defense this year. We don't look the same on defense. We're going to be better. And you can mark my words on that one. The girls have been adapting to some of the new changes that we've made. It fits our full court press style of our run and jump. We still run and jump. And again, I think they've done a great job of adjusting our transfer. Ava Bardick is really good on the full court press. Ellie Cahill from Eureka is really long on the press and seems to have adapted very well to that. In fact, when she was recruited, she told me that was the one thing she was really looking forward to, and you can tell by her efforts in practice that she's excited. The rest of the girls are doing, we've gained speed over the summer. Every one of our players but one gained speed in their tests, their strength and conditioning tests. So we're really excited about that. Again, I think their footwork looks a little bit better. Timing looks a little bit better. Trust looks a little bit better. So I think we've done a better job. Our press looks better right now than it ever did last year.
That's exciting to hear when you're sitting here saying that on October 23rd as we're filming this today. So that's great. It's a team that was the second highest score on offense in the conference last year, but maybe got there a little bit differently than some of your squads over the last 10 years, and that it wasn't necessarily a great three-point shooting or free throw shooting team, but yet still third in field goal percentage, 42.1, first in offensive rebounding, second in total rebounds, a more physical team than perhaps you've had sometimes in years past. Do you expect to be able to stretch the floor a little bit more this year with some of the newcomers, or do you see a pretty much a return to that style of play?
So you said a mouthful of things right there, and there's a lot that's going into practices right now. I'll give you one example. We're charting shot percentage. Who takes the amount of shots. An example, the other day, Monday, our leading scorer returning from last year, Lauren Huber, only took 6 shots in a scrimmage situation. That's not enough for your leading returning scorer. We shot 43 threes in a situational drill the other day that was kind of offense-oriented. That was way too many. That meant post people weren't getting touches. So we know by looking at those things and then by watching our huddle practices that we've got to make some adjustments. Already, on Wednesday's practice of last week, we could see exactly where those changes need to be made, and the girls made them. So a group that's really trying hard to figure out where their strengths and their weaknesses are and make those adjustments. We are going to shoot the 3. There is no doubt about that. Hopefully we can spread that 3 around between Katie Palmer, Mallory Powers, Ava Bardick looks really good at it. I think Lauren Huber can shoot it, and Katie Knudsen even thinks she can shoot it a little bit. And then when we get Sawyer White back in the lineup, we know she can shoot it as well. So I think we're going to be really balanced in scoring. Need to make sure we're an unselfish team and deliver the ball to the open player. One of the things you said is how high we can score, being second offensively. I think that's because of shots per minute. I mean, we get a lot of shots up quickly. Again, we want to do that this year, but we want to make sure that shot is a good shot. So that's some of the things we're working on right now.
Yeah, and one of the things that really stood out to me as I was watching you play throughout especially the second half of last year, was the ferocity on the offensive glass. And it's easy, you have to always look at statistics in context. and sometimes you can be a great offensive rebounding team because you're a really poor shooting team around the basket. And that wasn't the case for you guys last year, despite being third in field goal percentage in the conference. You led the conference in offensive rebounding, and a lot of that is Lauren Huber.
It is.
When you go back to her season last year, the only player in the conference to average a double-double was an All-American in our hearts and minds.
Exactly.
If not on paper, but hopefully can right that wrong last year. But are you looking to expand her role on offense at this point? Or are you really almost trying to keep her about at the same usage rate as she was last year and spread it around a little bit?
Always trying to expand all the players' roles, and I think that's what we are doing right now in practice is that exactly. Lauren typically likes to go left. There's no secret out there. She's better at going left. That in one of the best games of the year at Wheaton, she hit the game winner moving left. We know that teams are going to try to take away her left, so we're working on her going right, and she looks good to me right now, going both ways. So, expanding her game there, expanding her game to the three-point line. She's got in high school, she shot a lot of three-pointers, but the college three-point line is deeper than the high school three-point line, so that does make a little bit of adjustment. But certainly grow your game every year, especially during the summer. Grow your game.
You alluded earlier to when we get Sawyer back in the mix full time, especially looking at three-point shooting. But obviously, as she works her way back from soccer season, what is kind of your process to help her transition from soccer into basketball?
Sawyer, are you ready? That's my process. No, seriously, you change of the surface is key for her to make sure that she doesn't get shin splints, bother her knees, and her lower back. Her legs being fatigued from soccer certainly plays a factor in that. So we just let her kind of tell us. She comes in every now and then about once a week and gets some shots up on her own. I've seen her in the gym putting the ball up, getting some shots down for the week. When she's ready to go, we'll probably start her in half-court drills, and then when she feels better, we'll put her into full-court drills. I can tell you this, she's itching to go. I know the ISU game was a goal for her because that's just such a phenomenal opportunity for any player. And I know she's disappointed that she might not get to play in that game.
And speaking of that ISU game, if there's anyone watching this who is unaware, and I can't imagine that there is, but the return of Titan Redbird basketball this coming Sunday, the 29th, 1 p.m. start over at CCIW, a.k.a. Redbird Arena. Doors will open at noon. Men play 30 minutes after the women. Tickets are $20. Those can only be purchased at this point through ISU. Thanks to all of you out there who have run Illinois Wesleyan out of its ticket allotment, but they are all general admission. Does not matter where you purchase them from in terms of seating areas or anything like that. Proceeds from those tickets are split between the Western Avenue Community Center and a mental health collaboration between the two universities. How excited are you for this?
Oh my gosh.
Sunday?
It's a daily thought. I've been thinking since we decided we were going to play that game. I think about it every single day. And I'm so happy for our girls. I'm grateful to Kristen Gillespie and the people over at Illinois State. And it's just a tremendous opportunity. I mean, to get to play in front of that type of crowd in that arena and in that environment, we have great crowds at Illinois Wesleyan. And our environment, I think, is an intimate environment. It's a great crowd. It's fun. There's a lot to be said. We love our shirt crowd for sure, but we're going to double that. We're going to be able to play in front of a big, big crowd and for a great cause and just an opportunity that I think the girls are going to always remember.
Absolutely. And once again, purchase tickets through ISU. If you still want to come out on Sunday, we will see you there, Coach. Good luck with the preparations and have a great weekend.
Thank you, Tommy.